y'all, this is Marissa with Marissa Moments, and this is Oracle Tuesday. I'm doing a reading for the collective, so that means you too. Remember to take what resonates and leave everything else to the side. I'm going to be using my personally made Marissa Moments Oracle deck, so let's get to shuffling, and I'm going to speed that up for you. Here we go. Okay, so per usual, we're going to go on ahead and list out the cards first. So, become your own best friend. If you're supposed to know, you will. And this is in reverse. Don't make yourself the sacrificial lamb. You know way more than you let on. Excuses are not getting you closer to your goals. And then bottom of the deck energy is time for a change of scenery. Okay, so let's get into it. Become your own best friend. Now, what I'm receiving for that, I feel like this is very close, but anyway, hi. What I'm receiving behind this is that you're prioritizing others above yourself. And what Spirit, God, Gaia, ancestors, angels, and saints are saying is that you have to become your own best friend. And almost in a way of what I hear is like that advice that you give out to others, the love that you give to others, all of those types of things. Now, it's not to allude to the notion of retracting any of that, right? Because what I'm receiving is that you have more than enough to give. But what is it worth if you don't give it to yourself first, right? Because what I'm hearing is that when you give all of that appreciation, that all of that support and everything else to everyone else, and then you leave yourself in a place of lack, then it almost like invalidates, it crosses out whatever you're giving to others, because it's like Spirit is saying, but do you really believe that? Because if you really believed it, then wouldn't you apply it to yourself as well? All of those things, all of that empowerment, all of the thoughts and words of appreciation and tips and suggestions and all of these different types of things. Shouldn't you also be giving that to yourself if that is what you are applying to the world, if that is what you are telling your best friends, your relatives, all those types of things? What you have to do, you don't have to do anything, but I'm going to say what you have to do is become your own best friend. Everything that you apply to other, it's almost like you have to have like this out of body experience when you're going through things. Ask yourself, if my friend were going through this, what would I tell them? How would I support them? And then apply it to yourself. Be your own best friend. And if you're supposed to know, you will. What I'm hearing is like, my attention is drawn to this crystal that I have on my desk, and it kind of looks like a little crystal ball, right? Ooh, so pretty. But what I'm receiving is that you try to read the future. You try to fortune tell, all those things. And it's almost like, when you watch a movie and you try to predict the outcome, 2 seconds in, you're like, oh, I already see the plot twist. I already know what's going to happen. And what God is saying is that, listen, some things are kept shielded from you to protect you. You're not supposed to know everything. You are not omnipotent. Only God is, right? So if you're supposed to know, you will. Stop trying to see into the future so much that you forget to exist within the present, right? And that is also what I hear. It kind of goes hand in hand with why you're not kind of becoming your own best friend, because you're predicting almost like the worst outcome. You're putting yourself in a space of limits and limitation just based off of your wounded perceptions. Now that's a whole word right there. So what God is saying, what Spirit is saying in this moment is just exist in the present. Work on your healing in this current moment and stop trying to project yourself into the future, because you're going to miss all of the lessons, all of the blessings, and everything else that exists within today. And then we have, don't make yourself the sacrificial lamb, but it's in reverse. Now, I got to pause for a second to meditate on this one. Okay, so what I received behind this is the reason it's in reverse is because you go black or white. There is no gray area in between. So it's either you are in that victim seat of I am the sacrificial lamb, or nobody can stop me, I'm all the way up, right? Or in this sense, what I receive is that it's okay to soften things up a little bit. You know, not everyone is opposed to you. Not everyone is against you. And the reason you often have that mentality is because that's what you've grown accustomed to. But you have to realize and recognize, you don't have to, but you should, that right now you've put yourself in a different place and space and surrounded yourself with different types of people. And that was a part of your healing process, a part of your healing journey. So you don't have to be as defensive as you once were. So stop trying to be so hard behind every single thing that you do, because there is a place for your softness in this world, and you're entering into that season where appreciation, self-appreciation, self-acknowledgement, all of these things can exist without other people attacking you. Ooh, that's a whole word in itself. Because what it seems like is that you grew accustomed to anytime you put in any type of effort, anytime you try to give yourself a big up, if you came home with a participation award or even a first place award, you were used to people being like, that's no big deal. It is what it is, whatever. So then after a while, you started to build up that armor, right? And so what you do is look for those specific triggers, those specific little like words and signs and symbols that people who are working within their wounds and looking to bring down others will use. And anytime somebody uses even just a singular word, you put back on that armor and you're like, nope, not going to get me, not going to bring me down. But it can be used innocently. I hope this is making sense, because Spirit is saying it's okay to rest your armor. It's okay. You don't have to. It will not put you in the victim seat. It will not make you become susceptible to other people treating you any type of way. It will not revert you into that pain and that trauma and that misery, because you've grown beyond that and your circumstances and environment have shifted. I'm saying a lot right here, because what Spirit is saying, I really have to drive this point home with you, because like I said, black or white area, no gray. But Spirit is saying it's time to peek into that gray area. You'll know if you, when the people you surround yourself give you a certain response, but it's not because of a singular word or a singular moment. You have to allow people to have space for grace, mainly yourself. But let me get off that card. You know way more than you let on. See, that's even what I feel is like kind of adding on to that notion, right? You kind of, even though you participate in the scenes and activity, you're always kind of like, what I see is like antennas up, where you're like, do, 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 and you're honing in on what people are saying, not only what they're saying, but their mannerisms, right? The way that they carry themselves, the way that they use their hand gestures and all these different types of things. And what you do is you almost like file it away, and you use it to see more in depth into that individual as they are. But what Spirit is also saying is you have to be very careful with that, because that goes into that mind reading. You're trying to predict that future to protect yourself. You're trying to control the outcome in order to feel safe. But what it actually is you doing is blocking your blessings, because you have to understand that you've come a far distance from where you were. So now you are in a much safer environment. You are around people that are safer to let your hair down and be vulnerable with. So if you apply the same rules and regulations that you used to use on your victimizers to the people who are trying to show you support, then you're going to push everyone out of the way. Don't worry about missing out on things. God, Gaia, Spirit, ancestors, angels, and saints have your back. So if you're supposed to know, you will. And excuses are not getting you closer to your goals. What I hear is like, you're so busy trying to watch the scene around you. It's almost like, when you go to the restaurant and you're like, I can't have my back to the door because I don't know what would happen. Hood rules, right? If you know, you know. And you're so used to being on guard with everything that you're using that as a crutch and an excuse to like detract and pull you away from what it is you feel you should be doing, right? Those visions, those goals, those manifestations. And what Spirit is saying is, listen, we understand, we get you, I get you. But at the same time, you're starting to use it as an excuse to not take action on the things that you feel compelled to do. You feel heart led and heart called to do, right? That business that you're looking to start, going back to school, taking that art class, taking a nap is what I hear. All of these different things because you're in your head and you're trying to predict the future of how people are going to respond to your actions. When Spirit is like, listen, don't worry about all that, Linda. Don't worry about all that. If your name is Linda, that just worked out perfectly. But if it's not, it's a meme, right? So stop using excuses. Stop using your former wounds to prevent you from stepping into your blessings of today and tomorrow. And overall, Spirit is saying, listen, if all else fails, change scenery. And that doesn't have to mean going on some grand vacation, sitting on a yacht somewhere. Maybe I just spoke my future. But what that can mean is if you're inside, go outside. If you're outside, go inside. A change of scenery can be walking from one room to another, especially what Spirit wants me to remind you is it's about also changing your mindset as you change that scenery. Don't carry that same funky feeling from one space to another and expect to have these endorphins released just because, well, I went from the sala, the living room, to the kitchen and I still feel crappy. No, you have to work on that, process those emotions, release it, look to see it within yourself. Am I actually comparing this present moment and circumstance to something that happened in the past that is no longer valid, right? And then change the scenery, location, attitude, emotional state. And if you need help, again, reach out for help. And I'm not just talking about myself. I'm talking about psychiatrist, counselor, therapist, people who have no dog in the race and are educated enough to see an entire scenario for what it is and help you to understand your role in it and your healing in it. So that's everything for now. Hopefully you got your message. Hopefully you received some clarity for your journey and your healing within this week. Thank you for watching. I always look forward to Oracle Tuesday because I'm like, what is Spirit going to say this week? And I also apply it to my life too. So it's not just about you. It's also about me. It's for the collective. It's not about the one. It's about everyone. So that's it for now. Apples and tomatoes. And I will see you next week. Bye.